Going live. Hello, fans.
Today you are 0 followers. We're really so happy. We've gone over a big.
So this guy can't even speak anymore. He's so excited about the live
so
stream.
emotional. '30th. It's in the morning. Huh?
'29th is all day for me.
Yeah.
Tune in today. Actually, we should have done a one with both of us because it's just me and it's just me.
Yeah. Maybe I should try to do it with my webcam. I mean, it's not as good as yours. Obviously, I mean, it's not a Mac.
Yeah.
I don't have a budget for a Mac. Maybe on the next production.
Yeah.
But maybe I could.
Are you listening, Carleen? Because we need some more money so Laurent can buy a Mac.
Carleen, this is good.
Imagine if she was watching this.
And Matt, when can we talk about the dates where we're performing in TAS? Because I need to see my holidays in July.
Yeah. I want to book some holidays to get rid of these bugs because I'm really tired and overworked. We have one watcher already.
Oh.
Who is that? I think it's maybe Francesca. Speak, person. Who is here?
You can write a comment and we will know who that is. Spirit.
And then my bags will diminish because we have more followers. Okay. Let's get back to work. What were we doing? Text. Google Docs. Google Doctor. So the things we said yesterday, let me get my notes from Andreas. He's really cool, that guy.
Yeah.
I really like him.
Yeah.
It's really zen also. Are you listening, Andreas? You're really zen. And I like you. Not in a sexual way, but I like you.
Salut.
Hey. Yeah, I wish I'd written some stuff down about what we were really saying with incorporating, talking about the YouTube feed, and
I think we just mentioned it. We didn't really go into the details of what we said. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
It was maybe bridging the mass yoga thing with the live stream.
Yeah. So, should we go from the beginning of the text and go through it once more and just see parts that we know are working and parts which we maybe need to...
Okay. And after that, we could also think of what would be the rough ideas. The ideas, not the sentences, of what we could convey in that moment. Like, what are the other perspectives to give?
You mean what more content
if for instance,
can we add?
we want to speak about the mass yoga. Je pense que vous montiez au premier. Je sais pas, il faut que vous alliez demander là-haut.
C'est fermé en fait? Oui.
Just to see.
Il faut que je fasse le truc, j'arrive.
Because what we speak about, what we introduce will probably inform what we said before. You know?
I don't understand you.
If, for instance, we want to...
What we add now, that's what you're trying to say. What we're going to add.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What is going to be the new focus points?
Yeah.
Because it will determine that maybe actually some parts we will not need to speak of anymore. It's not necessarily about adding.
What is really working now in this, and I think what Andreas picked up on, this part is really working. This part is really working. The ideas are really working.
Yeah. This not the Gemini.
No. So I'll leave that aside for now. We're going to like.
And he also pointed at the beginning of how we started the process was also pretty normal.
I think I'm okay with that for now, though.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think we can get more feedback on that. Because it's also a very casual beginning and it's... Yeah. But again, it's also what he says about... how much do we want to really give this rehearsal vibe? Therefore, it should come back in other moments.
Yeah. But also by saying, no, we're not saying it. But maybe it could be also a bit less formal, like...
For
it could
sure.
be a bit less like, so we started in 2017, because then it's really like we're introducing a piece. Whereas it's a bit maybe what he mentioned, that if we're in a rehearsal and there is an audience, it can be much more small detail that we bring up, or much more... not a much smaller picture than the big picture of, okay, this is where we started back and this is where we are now. And he was giving the example, I'm not sure about it, but he was giving the example, this morning on the train I read this text.
No, but he was saying that for the
Gemini
the Gemini thing, not for the beginning. I think for me now, it's okay.
Okay.
I think it's just about learning it well, so that we don't have to keep looking at the computer, because that's also going to change it a lot.
Yeah.
And sticking with it for now, because I don't think it's...
Okay.
I think it's okay.
Maybe we can test it.
I think up until here, it's good.
Okay.
Kind of.
Okay.
And then I think it needs to be something about the YouTube.
Yeah.
That's more explicitly putting the computer as a player in the performance, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And also a bit of why, where it came from. Because people always say like, okay, nice that you're on YouTube, but it's just a gimmick.
But what if it's a continuation of... So one of the ideas we had was to make a piece in which we would actually film the entire process, or this would go live on YouTube.
Yeah, totally.
So we would set up this computer here, and then we would start it now.
That's nice. Yeah.
It could just be that, no?
Should
we try that?
Yeah.
To do? Okay.
And I just made this little transition, like... I like the silence, live on YouTube silence, and then it's about one other idea was one important thing to mention is that we're going live on YouTube because one of our other idea for the piece or for the process.
Maybe it's not one thing to mention is that we're going live on YouTube and so we also had this other idea for a piece in which we would actually film the entire process of our trying to work together.
Yeah.
And this would go live on YouTube, and we're going to start now.
And we're going to start the stream now.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Can you phrase that?
And then you should also say and we just wanted to know, because obviously everyone in this room is going to be able to be heard on YouTube. So if you don't want to be, if you don't have your voice to be put onto the internet, then you need to be quiet for the rest of the show, and we're going to start now. I think you should also add that. I'm interested to see, like, if it's.
But for me, it's a bit. It would be relevant if we use their image, if they're going to be filmed.
Yeah.
But their voice, I've never heard that you cannot register the voice of someone, or that it could be problematic.
No, not that it's legally problematic, but like if you don't want to be heard,
or if you're not supposed to be here and you don't want to be heard.
I think you can just say it as like a passing joke. It doesn't need to be like. It doesn't need to have any kind of. You know, it doesn't. People won't be thinking, but are there like legal rights to putting my voice on YouTube? Oh no, there isn't. It doesn't make sense. This joke. Why are you telling? Like, it's humor, you know. So
I think it's really good. I think it's your humor more than mine. So, but it can be interesting that I try to make a joke that you wrote.
Yeah, I mean, you have to like do it good. Oh, there's no humor in the world. Okay, so live on YouTube. And then we had this idea for a really big piece, which would take would last for a very long time. Ah, yeah. Cause. I'm not sure the whole process is a good way of phrasing it.
But to say, just like to make it, making all our rehearsals. As part of what we want to show is. It's getting a bit.
Yeah, it's getting too descriptive.
Yeah.
We had this idea for a really big piece which would last like a really, really long time, like 2 years or even more, I don't know, something really, really long, which would like involve the two of us and would always be available to watch live on YouTube at anywhere in the world at any time. And because we would start a live stream every time we would do the piece or rehearse it or whatever, and it would start now.
Yeah, that's nice. Um, and I say instead of placing the laptop, filming from this angle.
Yeah.
With or without an audience, actually, because if it's a rehearsal.
Mm.
But because it goes live, there is maybe an audience.
Because we had this idea for a really big piece which would last for a very, very, really long time, like 2 years or so, or even longer. So it would be really epic, which would involve the two of us and would always be available to watch live on YouTube at anywhere in the world, at any time. Because we like this idea that, you know, theatre is not exclusive and everyone can watch it and access it. And so we would have this live stream every time we would do the piece or rehearse it or whatever, and it would just involve, and it would involve us filming from this angle. So we would have to put the laptop here every time we did the piece. Yeah, okay. With or without more people in the room than Dan and Lockron, in which Dan would be stood here and Lockron there, and it would start now.
Can I make a few suggest a few?
Uh-huh.
So, because we have this idea for a durational project instead of a really big piece, because it's a bit this hot topic. It's a bit of a.
Well, it's just another way of saying really big piece, but it's more.
But really big piece and. I don't know.
This can we say epic?
Yeah, if you want.
For this really epic piece. Can I say really, please? Could I say this bit this afternoon, actually? Just because I've written it now.
Okay. Yeah.
For a very, very, very long time, like 2 years or so, or even longer, who knows, which would involve the two of us and would always be available to watch live on YouTube anywhere in the world, anytime. Because every time we would do the piece or rehearse it or whatever, we would start a live stream and it would involve us filming from this angle, with or without more people in the room than ourselves. Which Dan would be stood here and Laurent there, and it would start now. Hi everyone.
And I suggest if you say do the piece,
Hmm?
and you have a really epic piece, or the same piece, or
I don't think. Do you pick up on that?
it's just like, for me, it's just a bit of getting the clarity.
Yeah, but like if I'm saying it, because also it's maybe a bit like going into like nonsense in a way. So if I say it to you now,
Okay.
because we had this idea for a really epic piece which would last for a very 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 long time, like 2 years or so, or even longer, which would involve the two of us and would always be available to watch live on YouTube at any time in anywhere in the world at any time. Because whenever we would do this piece or rehearse it or whatever, we would live stream it, and it would involve us filming from this angle, with or without more people in the room than just the two of us, in which Dan would be stood here and Laurent there, with about 5 meters in between them, and it would start now. I think it's fine, no? Every time we would do this piece, it makes sense.
It could be every time we would come together or rehearse or whatever.
But why not say do this piece when we say we had this really idea for this really epic piece? So every time we would do this piece,
Yeah, I understand that it's blurry, but then the blurriness, it's not logic.
but it is syntactically very logical. Because I say we have this idea for a piece,
Yeah.
and every time we would come to do this piece or rehearse it or whatever,
But then every time implies a repetition.
yeah, but we are repeating the piece, no?
But then it's one long piece. So we repeat a 2-year piece.
Yeah. But it's also, I think it's nice that there's that confusion there between like the piece being the process or the piece being the piece. But it's maybe not like evident.
Okay, as you wish.
Bonjour. Because we had this idea for a really epic piece, which would last for a very, 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 very long time, like 2 years or something, or even longer. So that's not exactly a very long time. Which would involve the two of us and would always be available to watch live on YouTube anywhere in the world, anytime, because we would start a live stream every time we would do this piece or rehearse it or whatever. And it would involve putting the laptop here in the space and filming from this angle, with or without more people in the room than just the two of us, in which Dan would be stood here and Laurent would be sat over there with about 3 meters in between, and it would start no.
Okay.
Then it preludes a disagreement, maybe.
It's true.
Because I think this thing of like setting the seed, which I
it's true, because otherwise we don't speak about disagreements so
Yeah.
much, unless at the beginning we had lots of disagreements. Here, I get the idea, but I don't know if if the space would be read as such.
maybe then we can make that position into one in which we look as if we just had an argument. You know?
Yeah, that may be a good idea.
Because we had this idea for a really epic piece which would last for a very, very, very long time, like 2 years or so, even longer, which would involve the two of us and would always be available to watch live on YouTube anywhere in the world at any time, because every time we would do the piece or rehearse it or whatever, we would start a live stream, and it would involve us putting a laptop here in the space and filming from this angle, with or without more people in the room than the two of us, in which Dan would be stood here and Laurent there with about 3 meters in between them, as if they had just had a fight or an argument because they couldn't agree on something really important, so they needed to separate. And it would start now, but now it doesn't really flow into the naturally. Jan is highlighting me.
Yeah, because in this thing, I'm just thinking, but I'm also thinking from a logical point of view, so you will dismiss it, which is if we start the live stream, we're not every time starting it from this position. Or
Why not? They don't know that. It's fiction, huh? So this fictional idea of a piece that kind of doesn't exist but does. I think we should try it.
Okay, sure. Good.
We could also mention some of the yoga stats video thing here also, maybe. because we're very inspired by this idea of mass yoga consumption and how it's making us all a little bit the same. I don't know. So we had this idea for a really epic piece, which lasted a very, very long time, 2 years or so, or even longer, which would involve two of us. It would always be available to watch live on YouTube anywhere in the world at any time, because every time we would do the piece or rehearse it or whatever, we would start a live stream. It would involve putting the laptop here in the space and filming from this angle with or without more people in the room. Just the two of us, in which Dad would be stood here. And Laura.
We can put it in this beginning, so that it's just dropping a line, or you want to develop it more.
I think maybe it should go here.
How do you pronounce this?
What?
Adho Mukha Vrikshasana. Because it could be doing a headstand, Adho Mukha Vrikshasana, and then it's kind of bringing the yoga thing.
Oh, yeah.
What were you saying?
I hate it when it does that. Okay. I thought here would be a good place to put it. We would start a live stream. We have the stats again.
Yeah, I think the text is called Stats and Memory.
Stats and Me, it's called.
Yeah.
There it is. 50 billion hours people spend watching yoga videos every year. What is the link between yoga and us, actually?
We do mention fitness, right here. So
Yeah,
it
this
could be
sculpting
about.
the body.
It could be, instead of speaking of yoga, it could be about speaking of fitness and sports videos.
Mm. Should involve the two of us and would always be able to watch live on YouTube anytime, anywhere in the world, anytime. Because every time we would do the piece or rehearse it or whatever, we would start a live stream. Or I was just like, like one of the other many other, like one of the many other live streams happening right now. Just showing people on their own or together or with their families. Doing yoga, doing Pilates, gym. Trying to come close to one another while still being so far apart. So we had this idea for a really epic piece which would last for a very, very, very long time, like 2 years or so, even longer, which would involve the two of us and would always be available to watch live on YouTube anywhere in the world, anytime, because every time we'd do the piece or rehearse it or whatever, we would start a live stream like one of the other many, many other live streams happening right now, which are showing people on their own or together or with their families or doing yoga or doing Pilates or at the gym, sculpting their bodies, sculpting themselves, clawing for attention and trying to come closer to one another while still being so far apart. Even though they're sending out this little thin stream of themselves to strangers, and it would involve putting the laptop here in the space, filming from this angle, with or without more people in the room than just the two of us, in which Dan would be stood here with his hand on his head, and Laurent would be laying on the floor over there with about 3 meters in between them, as if they had just had a fight or an argument, and didn't want to speak to each other anymore because they just couldn't agree, and it would start now. What about if you were also to say something here as well? Like in the same way that we did this one.
Ah,
That you were to write a text also like this. That might work, right? Because then it's not as if the content. It's kind of what Andres was saying yesterday, that it's more interesting in the task than the content. And then we could say this together.
how do you see the spacing then?
Same.
Okay.
But maybe we could, yeah. If, for example, I was to be like this because I just couldn't agree, and we're going to start now, and you were like, you just need to make it like something that's charged. Or it's also in the intention that you would just give that speech. Then.
But yeah.
Maybe then it's overacting it. It could just be like a hint towards the because we had this idea for a really epic piece, which would last for a very, very, very long time, like 2 years or something, or even more, which would involve the two of us and would be always available to watch live on YouTube at anywhere in the world at any time, because every time we would rehearse the piece or do it or whatever, we would start a live stream like one of the other many live streams. Right now, which is showing people on their own or together or with their families or doing yoga or doing Pilates or at the gym, sculpting their bodies, sculpting their minds, trying to clawing for attention, trying to come closer to one another while still being so far apart, even though they're sending out this.
Then I find it interesting that this would be like a overlap. And I'm wondering, could this one be a bit differently overlapped
Yeah.
version?
Yeah.
So it's not
the same.
exactly the same
Yeah.
principle. And I was thinking we should practice thing, but like as a first as a game starter, it could be that as if we are still like giving one thread, but I'm just following my thread. I mean, just we give more space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let's try that now.
Okay.
So something authentic,
Something true to us. Like, I mean, as our first piece together,
we began not really knowing what this authenticity.
We wanted to make something really important, at least important for ourselves.
And actually, we didn't really have a concrete idea.
Something for which we shared the sense of urgency
about what the piece would be about.
Like about why would we put it out there.
And we were a bit like overwhelmed by how many things.
Because we are also really aware that there's a big competition out there, like the question of getting visibility,
talk about, seeing as though we live in this world where.
So yeah, we needed to see what we would discuss about.
Things would need to be talked about that aren't.
We had the idea of maybe speaking about
climate change or gender,
costume and nature,
YouTube, straight acting. Yeah, that can work. And then the last one should be like this. Blah, 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 blah. I think it can be nice.
Yeah. Also because this is something that happened a little bit yesterday, or I was doing it, but almost unconsciously, is that this, I'm still referring to you.
Yeah.
Because we're still like agreeing.
Yeah. I was not doing that so much.
And I think it's interesting.
Let's do that then. Can we do it one more time?
Yeah.
So something like authentic.
Something that would be true to us.
Yeah.
I mean, as our first piece together.
So we began not really knowing what this authenticity.
We wanted to make something important.
Would be, or where it would find it.
At least important for us, for ourselves.
Actually, we didn't really have a concrete idea about what.
Yeah, something for which we shared a certain urgency about putting out there.
What this would be about. And we were a bit overwhelmed by how many things we could possibly talk about.
Because we are so aware that there is a strong competition for visibility and attention in the performing arts system.
Seen as though we live in this world where lots of things need to be talked about.
So we needed to really see together what we wanted to deal with.
Aren't really talked about, like climate change.
So we imagine maybe speaking about straight acting, gender,
globalization,
Grindr,
time travel, animal rights,
Facebook and Instagram generation,
working together, queer culture,
time travel,
masculinity,
black hole, the end of the world,
the Facebook and Instagram generation, feminism,
costume and nature,
folk dance, authenticity, becoming the same person, Brexit,
post-colonialism,
mirrors,
becoming the same person,
gender,
the Anthropocene gender.
One of the ideas we had was about how nowadays we are all sculpting our bodies into this perfectly Instagrammable image. And this piece would have had a section with us trying to do like a perfectly synced and mirrored fitness routine for about an hour. Maybe we can also mention that. And it would have had this section, it would have involved a lot of like yoga and fitness movements. And it would have had this perfectly synced hour-long attempt to do exactly the same routine.
Or perfectly synced, mirrored hour-long routine.
Without errors,
And not necessarily attempt.
What about if we then rework this text a bit and find out the places that it can connect without, because it kind of happened there. When you said, actually, we didn't really have a concrete idea about what the piece would be about. And then you said, because it's a big competition to get some attention. So it kind of made sense, but it was like, it's my sense and then it's your sense. Maybe we can then just...
You want to write it?
Yeah, why don't we just try to cut it up now?
Okay.
I would suggest first... I mean, as our first piece together, What about this? We wanted to make something important. Actually, we didn't really have a concrete idea about what the piece would be about, at least for ourselves.
This would come here, right?
Me here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and then. Oops.
And then it's you here.
And then it's me. Hang on, let me put me there.
And this I'm not saying anymore.
So we needed to see together what we would really deal with in the piece. Doesn't need to make that aren't usually talked about. Yeah, and then here we could overlap even.
Yeah, exactly.
So should we do this?
Yeah.
Let me just respace this a bit so we. Okay. Something authentic or
true to us.
Mm.
I mean, as our first piece together,
we began like not really knowing what this authenticity would be or where we would find it.
We wanted to make something important.
I mean, actually, we didn't really have a concrete idea about what the piece would be about.
Important, at least for ourselves. Something, for which we shared an urgency about.
And we were a bit overwhelmed by how many things we could possibly talk about.
It's also a big competition, like to get some attention.
Seeing as though we live in this world where lots of things need to be talked about.
So we need to see together what we would deal with in this piece.
That aren't usually talked about.
And we thought about
climate change or gender. Yeah, what if you overlap a little bit more? So it's not like a script. That you're still going on your own thought a bit. You know?
Yeah.
We try again?
Okay.
So something authentic
true
to us.
I mean, as our first piece together,
we began not really knowing what this authenticity would be or where we would find it.
We wanted to make something really important.
Yeah, and actually we didn't really have a concrete idea about what the piece would be about.
Important, at least for ourselves, like something for which we shared an urgency about making, about
and we were a bit overwhelmed by how many things we could possibly talk about.
And it's also a big competition, like to get some visibility and attention in the performing arts.
Seen as though we live in this world in which lots of things need to be talked about.
So we needed to decide together what we would deal with.
That aren't usually talked about, like climate change or gender, rituals, Grindr, YouTube, the Facebook and Instagram generation. Yeah. Maybe also, isn't it about as well not waiting for the other one, but carrying on with your thoughts?
Exactly.
So you're like, like that.
Yeah, I think it has to contain. Maybe at the beginning it's more this. I don't know. Maybe at the beginning it's a bit more this. I give you the space, but then I continue, or it has just a bit this two possibility of saying it.
Can we do it again with like then continuing your thought? As if, but then also interacting.
Okay.
So something like authentic.
Something true to us. Like, I mean, as our first piece
we
together,
began not really knowing what this authenticity would be or where we would find it.
To make something important.
And actually, we didn't really have a concrete idea about what the piece would be.
Or at least important for ourselves. Like, if something for which we shared an urgency.
And we were a bit overwhelmed by how many things we could possibly talk about.
We also know it's a big competition to get some attention and visibility in the
seen as though we live in this world where lots of things need to be talked about.
So we need to see together what we would deal with
usually talked about, like climate change.
We thought about
gender, Grindr, globalization, feminism, animal rights, time travel, black holes, the end of the world, idiosyncratic dance, feminism, fascism, feminism. Okay.
it appeared now that at the beginning we still like give a bit of attention, but then after a while we follow our own threads.
Yeah.
So this dynamic.
Yeah. But I think this overlapping is cool because later on it's going to be like this.
Yeah.
So it's good to like suggest a hint of the disagreement or
and it's
rather than to, because I don't think this speech of like I go, you go, I go, you go
No.
It feels really
I agree.
Inorganic. Can we do it one more time?
Yeah. So something
authentic,
true to us. Like, I mean, as our first piece
so we began
together,
like not really knowing what this authenticity would be or where we would.
We wanted
find
to make something really important.
Actually, we didn't really have a concrete idea of what the piece would be about. So
important, at least for ourselves, like something for which we would share an urgency about making.
And we were a bit overwhelmed by how many things that we could possibly
also
talk about.
A big competition to get some visibility and attention.
Yeah, and seeing as though we live in this world where lots of things need to be talked about.
So we needed to see together what we would deal with in this piece.
Aren't exactly always talked about.
And we thought about
climate change,
feminism,
grinder, gender,
from a male point of view,
toxic masculinity, shamanism, the Facebook and Instagram generation, YouTube, Brexit,
cyborgs, time
globalization,
travel, black holes,
the end of the world,
feminism,
animal rights, becoming the same person. Okay, that was a bit better.
Yeah.
Let's try and do it without looking now.
Oh my god, this is really difficult.
Okay, so like something authentic.
Something true to us. Because I mean,
like
as our first piece together,
started not really knowing what this authenticity would be or where
really
we would
wanted
find it.
To make something important.
And like actually we didn't really have a concrete idea about what the piece would be.
At least
about.
Important for ourselves. Like something we would share an urgency about making.
Yeah, and we were a bit overwhelmed by how many things that we could possibly talk about.
Because we also know it's such a big competition to get some visibility and attention in
the performing arts. As though there are like so many things that we could possibly talk about.
So we needed to see together what we would deal with in this piece.
About like
so we thought about
climate change or
straight acting,
grinder,
feminism,
or gender, or time travel,
spatial tourism,
Brexit, spatial tourism,
black holes,
the Facebook and Instagram generation,
the YouTube generation,
ritual, shamanism, Brexit,
shame culture,
mirrors,
capitalism.
Becoming how we're all becoming the same person. And then we had this one idea for a piece, which would have been about how we are all sculpting our bodies into these perfectly Instagrammable images, and everything is an Instagrammable image nowadays. And this would have had a section in which would have focused a lot on like yoga and fitness movements, and we would have tried to do this perfectly synced and mirrored fitness routine for about an hour without errors.
And at the opposite of that, we had another idea, which was talking and exploring our most idiosyncratic selves and most idiosyncratic aspects of ourselves, and in which we would actually try to access a very honest emotion of anger and try to teach it to each other.
Yeah.
And this would have happened surrounded by the audience, around the audience around us, so possibly somewhere around here.
Yeah, and then we had this idea for a piece about trying to find your own balance.
And this would have ended actually with Dan over here in space, so in the back right-hand corner, doing a handstand for as long as he can hold it on his own. Live on YouTube.
Because we had this idea for this really epic piece,
we were inspired
which would last for like a really long time,
yoga tutorials
and would involve the two of us,
all of us,
and would always be
look
available to
for
watch
tutorials
anytime,
and
any place in the
perform a
world by
practice that is
anyone who
dictated
wanted
by
to
someone
tune in,
very
because
far
every
in.
time we would do the
And
piece
there's
or
this
rehearse it
constant
or whatever,
idea of
we would start a
following that
live
and
stream,
harmonizing, becoming the same
like
person
one of the other
everyone
many
around.
other live streams
So
happening
this
right
idea
now,
was,
which is showing people
how
on
can
their
we
own or
become
together
ourselves like
or
a
with their
teacher for the
families
other,
or
and becoming
doing
a
yoga
tutorial
or being
and
at the
having
gym
something
or
that
doing
we can
fitness
share
or doing
and show to the
Pilates or
audience,
just
and we would
trying
just
to
simply
sculpt
put it
themselves
out
and their
there
bodies
and
and their
reveal
minds
how
and
we are
trying to
together,
come
and
closer
this
to
is
one
how
another
this
while being so
project is
still
actually a
far apart and
durational
sending
project
out
and not
this
just one
tiny
piece that
little thin
ends.
stream of
And
themselves
there
to
is this
strangers.
thing of
And it would involve us putting the laptop
putting
here in the space
this
and filming
spacing,
from
and we would
this
because we
angle,
just
with or
don't-
without
we're not
more
sure
people in
about
the
if
room
we
than
are
just
in
the two
same
of us,
space,
in
and it
which
would
Dan
just
would be stood
become-
here with
and
his
I would
hand
be
on his head,
here.
and Laurent would be laying over there on the floor with about 3 meters in between them, as if they just had a fight or an argument and didn't want to speak to each other because they couldn't. Maybe I don't say that anymore because it's evident. In which Laurent would be laying over there on the floor with about 3 meters in between them, and it would start now. That's good. That was cool.
I just find this thing, this moment in general, not the text, but this moment a bit long, and I wonder if it cannot be, it cannot.
I don't know. I think we shouldn't cut yet.
Okay.
Because for me, I think we need to see it to realize. Because for us, maybe it feels long, but the outside timing is very different.
Okay.
Should we do that part again?
Which part?
This bit.
But I don't have a text.
But it was good what you were saying.
I want to. I don't know. Maybe I will see, but I need to rewrite it a bit.
Okay.
So if you want, I can improvise. But
yeah, because then maybe by improvising, then you realize what your text is, no? Or what you could say.
Yeah, I would like also to prepare something that works for me. But we can improvise if you want.
Or do you want to prepare something?
It's gonna take a bit of while, and maybe we should move on to something else.
As you wish. Or we can. Yeah,
or I can just give myself a structure, and I will improvise through that structure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we try?
Yeah.
Because we had this idea for a really
Because one
epic
important thing to
piece,
mention
which would
is
last for a
that
very,
we're
very,
going
very
now
long
live
time,
on
like
YouTube.
2 years or something,
And
or
this
even
was
longer,
And
which
it
would
was
involve
part
the
of
two
our
of
idea
us,
to like
and would
publish
always
all
be
our
available to
rehearsals
watch
online
anywhere in
as
the
part
world
of
at
an
any
ongoing
time,
durational
because we would set
project
up a
where
live stream
our
whenever we
work
would come
becomes
together to do this piece or
what
rehearse
we
or
are working
whatever.
for and what we are showing.
Just
And
like one of
trying
the
to,
other
over
many,
the
many,
course of
many
the
live streams
2
happening
years
right
of
now, which is
practice,
showing people
trying to
alone together
harmonize
at
together
home
and
with their
reveal
families,
this
doing
work as
yoga,
something that
doing
is a
fitness,
bit like our
sculpting their
our
bodies,
difficulties.
sculpting themselves,
It's a bit the
clawing
same
for
principle
attention,
behind this
trying to come closer
mass
to one
yoga
another while
consumption
still
of
being
videos
so far
online,
apart. And
where
it would
people are
involve us putting the
following
laptop
all together
here
like
in the
a
space,
laptop.
filming from this angle,
And here we
with
are
or
setting our
without
channel
more and more
for
people in
the
the room than
process
just the
and
two of us, in which Dan would be stood here with his hand on his head, and Laurent would be laying on the floor over there with about 3 meters in between them, and it would start now. I think it's nice.
Mm-hmm. I think the anger, we should be careful not to direct it at the audience.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Because then it's like, oh, I don't want to be, I don't know. So I think instead of anger, it should be just irritation.
Yeah.
I don't know, something a bit softer. Or even it could be like, that when you try to remain very polite because there is an audience and it creates a friction by, having...
We can just see what happens this afternoon.
Yeah.
Because I think when we do it in front of people, it's going to be, it's going to inform us how much we can do that or not.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can push it or bring it back. Or... One more?
Yeah, and shall we try a different tone? Something, I don't know.
Okay.
I would
try not to do the anger.
Yeah, is to even be more polite.
Okay.
Like, I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Because we have this idea for a really
one important thing to mention is that
which would
we
last
are
for
now
a very, very,
going
very
live on
long
YouTube
time,
at
like
this
2 years or
precise
something,
moment.
or even longer.
So part of publishing
and it would involve
our
the two of
rehearsals
us,
online was
and
really part of our
would always be available to watch live
durational
on YouTube
project,
anywhere in the world at any time.
Where we would reveal how,
because every
how
time we
we
would do
work,
the piece
how
or
we make,
rehearse it or
and
whatever,
that's how it becomes
we would set up a
our
live stream.
And
Like one of the other many, many live streams on YouTube that show people at home alone together with their families, with their friends, doing yoga.
It's a bit the same principle that we've doing
Pilates, sculpting their bodies, sculpting themselves, looking at each other, clawing for attention, trying to come closer to each other while still being so far apart. And it would involve us
putting setting our own channel
here in the space,
follow the process
and filming from this angle, with or without more people in the room than the two of us.
So it would involve
and it would involve Dan being stood here with his hand on his head, and Laurent over there with his and there would be about 3 meters in between them, and it would start now. Yeah. I think what I should do is maybe I really have to say 3 meters in between them, and then we really do, and it would start now.
Okay, that's the cue.
One more? This?
Yeah, I really like this tone actually.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it doesn't need to be angry because otherwise it's acting.
Exactly, and also
it's more in the task.
It becomes a friction more intense. I don't know. For me, I was putting a smile on it.
Yeah,
and it becomes really like
yeah. Because we had this idea for this really epic piece,
thing to mention
which would last for a very, very, very long time, like 2 years or something, or even longer, which would involve the two of us, and would always be available to watch at any time, anywhere in the world, because every time we would do the piece or rehearse it or whatever,
and it shows
we would set up a live stream
how
on YouTube,
we work.
Just like one of the other many live streams that I are shown right now on YouTube, where people are
trying to harmonize
on their own, at home, in their rooms, or with their families, or with their friends at the park, at the gym, doing yoga, doing Pilates, sculpting their bodies, sculpting themselves, trying to be together, clawing for attention, trying to
and trying
come
to
closer to one
harmonize their
another while
minds and
still
bodies
being
and the
so
way they
far
think.
apart. And it would
this is a
start,
bit
and it would involve
and
putting the
so here
laptop
we are,
here in this
setting our
part
own
of the
channel for people
space,
to follow
filming
our
from this
process, and we
angle,
want feeds from
and
different
with or
locations.
without more
And it
people
would
in the room
involve
than just the two
filming
of us. And
from
Dan would
that
be stood
angle
here
and
with his
to the
hand on his
computer
head, and
here,
Laurent
with
would be
the
over
distance
there,
between the two of us.
sat on the floor,
And
and
there
there
would
would be
be
about
Laurent
3
here at the-
meters in between them, and it would
start
start now. Yeah. I like it where it's really the agreement in the end.
Mhm.
We just need to make sure that I would need to make sure I really know this text so I can like Gatling gun it out like a machine gun. So there's like an overload of information. So it's going really, 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 really fast. So then you get this silence at the end.
Yes.
I think this is really nice.
Yeah. What helps, or for me, what makes it possible is to have bullet points instead of a text that I have to.
Yeah.
Because then I can follow my flow of the moment.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm getting the text now. It's just
okay.
Every time I do it, I change it a little bit. One more?
Okay. Or what if you do it from the beginning?
Yeah, from the beginning. Cool.
P break
and time it also.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't need.
You don't need to pee.
You can take a pee break. Yeah. Zero followers. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming. I'm Dan, and this is Laurent.
Hi.
And what we're going to show to you today is something we've been working on now for about 2 years or so. Right? Yeah. So we've known each other for around 5 years and counting. We met back in 2014 as students at the Conservatory of Antwerp. We studied there for 2 years.
3 years?
Yeah, 3 years.
And then we started to work together outside of school in December 2007. We spent a week together in a remote little place in the countryside of Belgium, not really knowing what we were on about then,
or where it would go, or what would come of it. But we did agree that we should keep working together. So we spent more time in other places.
We went to Eindhoven, to Antwerp,
to Fontainebleau, where Laurent is from, to Munich,
to Maastricht. And during that time, we both agreed that we both wanted to make a performance.
Yeah, and so we had many attempts at trying to find some kind of common ground. We spoke a lot.
We discussed a lot of ideas.
We read a lot. We went on walks together.
We cooked and we ate together.
We did the same yoga classes together. We spent a lot of hours on public transport, going here, there, and everywhere together.
And we had lots of disagreements at first, but what united us was that we both wanted to make something in which we both believed in.
Yeah, like identified with, and something
true to us. I mean, as our first piece together,
we began not really knowing what this authenticity would be.
We wanted to make something important.
Find it, like Actually, we didn't really have a concrete idea about what
At
the piece
least
would be
for
about.
ourselves. Something
Yeah.
for which we shared an urgency about making.
Yeah, and we were a bit
putting it out
overwhelmed by
there.
how many things we could possibly talk about.
We also know it's a big competition to get
Seen
some
as
attention and
though
visibility
we
in the
live in
performing art
this
scene.
world where lots of things need to be talked
So
about.
we needed to
that
see together
aren't
what we would deal with in the
necessarily
piece.
talked about,
we
like
thought
climate
about
change or grinder,
toxic
or
masculinity,
or the Facebook and
rituals, straight
Instagram
acting,
generation,
posthuman
feminism,
nature,
fascism,
the generation of Instagram and YouTube,
post-humanism,
gender,
shamanism,
Grindr,
black holes, time travel,
shameholding, cyber,
feminism,
globalization,
becoming the same person,
mass
rituals,
yoga,
science
end
fiction,
of the world, feminism.
the end of the world. One of the ideas we had was about how nowadays we're all like sculpting our bodies into these perfectly Instagrammable images. And in this piece, we would have really used a lot of yoga and fitness movement, and we would have probably had a very long section lasting about an hour or so in which we tried to do a perfectly synced and mirrored fitness routine without errors.
We had another idea, a bit at the opposite of that, which would be dealing with the most idiosyncratic aspects of ourselves and of our movements, and for which we imagined accessing a very honest emotion of anger and trying to teach it to each other. And this would have happened
like somewhere close to the audience,
close to the audience,
somewhere
maybe.
Yeah, but we also had this idea for this piece about finding your own balance.
And it would have ended with Dan in the back end, in the back end side of the stage, performing a handstand for as long as he can hold it on his own. Live on YouTube. Because one important thing to
we also
mention
have this idea for this like really
we are
piece,
going live on YouTube,
which was happening for a really, really, really long time, like 2 years or something, or even longer, which would involve two of us, and would always be available to watch live on YouTube anywhere in the world at any time. Because every time we would do the piece or rehearse it or whatever, we would start a live stream, just like one of the other many live streams happening right now, in which people are at home on their own with their families, with their friends at the park, at the gym, doing yoga, doing fitness, sculpting their bodies, sculpting themselves, trying to be together, trying to just like kind of connect with people who are not there by themselves and clawing for attention. And this would have had like this part where we would put the laptop here and film from this side of the space, and like maybe there will be other people in the room or maybe not, and Dan would be stood here with his hand on his head and Laurent would be sat over there with about 3 meters in between them, and we would start now. Okay,
I think it's good.
Cool. So this is our text for today then.
Yes.
We can practice it again later. So let's watch some of the footage.
Yes. It's a live stream. 24/7.
Oh wow.
I don't know how they do it actually. The 24/7 thing. Okay. This is a little break.
So before one, we should also go back up there and try and do the sound checky thing.
Yes. Before their break, maybe.
Yeah. Which parts do we need to watch?
Good question.
The Toro, I think.
Yeah, because the text is going to be already so different.
Or maybe not the Toro.
The yoga we know. The part thing.
Yeah.
Because this is going to change a lot.
Yeah. That's maybe what we need to work on this afternoon. So let's just skip to that then.
Wait, let's just see also what I just want to check what were the other things that Andreas brought up. We should learn the same movement in the tantrum.
Yeah.
Dynamics in the yoga, yes, you can see that. But yeah, it was indeed like a lot about the parts.
Also the precision with the position.
Yes, at the very beginning at least.
So we can do that also.
Yeah. Okay. From here maybe?
Yeah.
It was good, no, this time yesterday. The way I followed you.
Mm-hmm. Handstand thing. We should also.
Yeah, you find for me.
Or like the leg raising.
A leg raising,
Yeah.
Because the handstand is always a bit of a dip.
Yeah.
In rhythm, I find. We didn't do a pattern actually.
What do you mean?
I thought that from here.
Yeah, we do.
Oh yeah, okay. Sorry. I forgot.
I think also we can walk more. Not remain in the same place.
Okay.
Like make it travel a bit more faster. Well, not speed fast, but like try not to stay on the spot when you're doing a position. So much, you know?
Or that every change of position takes you in the right direction of the space.
And this is nice. I think now there's more like cartoony things coming in, or it becomes a bit more absurd somehow.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool though. And then let's say we try this here today.
Yes.
It's also nice, I think, that this is close because it's like angriness. I just love that sheep. It's great. I love it so much.
I hear we paused at the same time. Was it on purpose?
That's what the score was. We didn't follow the score yesterday. The score was. Right, we'll do it in a second. That's why I was really confused because you missed out the pause both.
This was meant as my first pause.
No. Yesterday we did a difference. We misunderstood then because I thought there was a pause with both of us first. After these 5 moves.
Okay, then we misunderstood.
But I don't think there should be. I think it's you first and then me.
Yeah. So I think then after we again paused and repeated.
I love it when we get the slaps on the floor. Yeah, I think we can try out some more copy.
Yeah,
Because before it was really more like...
this is something we took again from yesterday, and I think it's nice.
Yeah.
And this way of ending also was also
This light's better when there's the whole space lit, I think. No? Where it's not like this dark corner.
yeah. These for me are interesting things.
Yeah, same. Yeah, it could be a bit longer there. Also.
Yeah, I agree. It could have been one position more, or. But I found a really nice way to end. Like, okay, now we've been angry. We have harmonized our anger.
Yeah.
We can move on.
This could also be a speaking to the audience moment or doing something.
True. Oh, sharing water is also cute.
Yeah. Yeah, I was expecting you to take over a bit. Because now I'm like leading a lot. Really quickly. The trajectory, I mean. I don't think we need this trajectory though. I think we can go everywhere in this way.
But this is what we're doing here.
Yeah, but we're not going like here, for example, and right back there.
I find that it's a bit lengthy, first of all, but I find that
I think it's a nice intro. It just needs to be structured a bit differently.
And I think there is a quality that makes me like understand why it comes here.
Yeah.
And it's a bit. Oh, not too far. There was some quality where there was anger in the movement.
Yeah. Whereas when I first started, it was a bit that.
For me, it came a bit later, but maybe it was there also. I didn't.
Like the first jump I did was a bit like, okay, fuck this, I'm just gonna fucking jump.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
See? Yeah, I don't like this light with the shadows here. It needs to be like naked.
And it's just too happy doggy.
Yeah.
But it comes back. I mean, your beginning was good in the anger, but I was not. And then there is another moment where it comes back a bit.
That was good.
A bit, yeah.
Also, this like nonchalance. Of being a bit like
there is here like
dropping.
sometimes just a bit of hey, where are you going?
Yeah.
There's a bit of this relationship. There is a bit, it's
Yeah,
a bit
like,
more tense.
Don't go away.
Yeah, like I don't know. I just saw it right here when you run.
Yeah.
Like it's like hey, I'm here, you know. And there is a bit of this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I think it's about like being super clear. Like if you're gonna do something, like you want to like break away from the other one, so you really want to do this one thing.
Yeah.
But then they copy you.
Yeah.
They just stay with you.
Yeah. That's a good principle to think of. Yes.
And then you copy them, and then you're like, no, I'm gonna keep. I want to go on my own thing.
Yeah.
It's always that, but it's like really this decisiveness.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe even the anger can continue a bit stronger.
How do you mean?
Like, but around the space and like less cartoony. Like,
I think this is gonna come across if the movement contains
really
that.
like giving more accents to the body parts or whatever. Or,
Exactly. Maybe without a facial expression or without the hitting the floor, but in the body.
Yeah. Or maybe like even going up to the wall and just like supporting yourself on the wall for a while.
Yeah.
Like you just want to pause, like, and you go back to thinking. Like,
yes.
This sort of stuff. It's a bit like this.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. True.
First dance of the day, people. Should get another belt.
It's a woman's belt.
No,
It's thin like this.
I quite like it. It's just this bit. It's hangs down. So what do we say today then? That we keep the same structure, but just try to adjust the movement. Try to like after lunch, we try to really work on that improvisational thing.
You know what? I'm thinking also here, just in terms of structure. I like going to the screen, taking a sip of water, making like a real break.
Yeah.
I like re-entering the space with the same anger, but now less cartoon in this thing. But maybe the music comes a bit later.
Okay.
Because for me it was really like anger, and now I hear this love song.
Yeah.
And then whereas I think it can come.
What if the song at first is like really, really, really quiet? So it's not like already really present. It's like we just left the song on the laptop.
It could be that. And then
bit by bit, we also, when we go back, we keep putting the volume on.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm also thinking after the anger, we could be like, so is everyone like, okay, we're just gonna continue doing this. Like, we should say something now.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's probably like, I don't know, we're gonna keep going now for like another 15 minutes or so. I don't know. I think it's an opportunity to say something.
Yeah, it's true. Or something like, because we like this part, we're going to just put some music and continue working on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be something like that. Where we really point it back to the rehearsal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get the feel on this part, like, the first time I did it, I got.
You want to show this?
I'm still trying to find a way to like really control my body because I'm so a bit crazy. You know.
So this was the part where we access our inner honest emotion of anger, and we are teaching it to each other, but we just continue at it.
So this was that piece that we were on about that we might make, which is about this kind of honest expression of anger. Yeah, that could be nice, just to say that. So remember when we talked earlier about this thing of trying wanting to.
Yeah, I think it can be even more blunt than this. This is just a bit about the honest emotion, anger.
Yeah.
And then we'll know exactly. And maybe one of us adds and teaching to each other.
No.
Or is this maybe like putting a.
Maybe.
Because maybe for some people it's more poetic than that, and then we just like.
Then
we don't need to kill the piece also. But because if we go to the rehearsal, we are killing a bit this. Killing. We just.
What if we like. Everyone alright?
I think actually this idea of we stop and we are back in the rehearsal mode can happen without necessarily speaking. But it can happen by just sitting down, having a sip of water.
Yeah.
Maybe this is enough also, like to just give this physical signal.
Right, yeah, and then maybe, I don't know. So we still didn't finish, we're just going to do a bit more. Something like that. Because then if we go back into the kind of anger, then it's like we're repeating it, we're rehearsing it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not that anger, like more into this.
Yeah. It could be like, okay, we still if we want to say something just before we go back into the space, so we still have to go towards the handstand or towards Dan doing the handstand. We still have to go there.
Yeah, but this is then really peace. Like peace has this.
Yeah.
Pointing then to it has a structure that a rehearsal doesn't really have. Oh, it's fucking difficult to make a rehearsal.
Or
kind of what I was like thinking a lot about last night and this morning. What Andrea said, like, why does it need to be a rehearsal?
Yeah.
Like, it's a good point. Like,
Yes.
because it's difficult to do that. But then I also thought, like, yeah, kind of what we're saying also is that the rehearsal is a piece. A piece is also a rehearsal. It's a bit of a philosophical thing, but like, which maybe you don't get as an audience. Maybe it's more like intellectual.
But because we are really rehearsing a piece, then it's a piece. If we wanted a sharing moment with an audience to just be a rehearsal, we would rehearse something else than a piece. We would rehearse practice. We would rehearse ideas, and it would actually come through with a very different structure, or with a very different basis, paradigm.
But how do we take that paradigm and put it in peace?
Then I think it's about also acknowledging that it's a piece, it's a real piece, what we're doing.
But I think it's still interesting to bring in the tension.
But it's a piece that reveals the multiple layers of rehearsals. And I think this is where we are at, and maybe not making a piece that is a rehearsal.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
just to
sure.
show some things that belong to the rehearsal.
Like the video.
Like the video and the fact that you repeat stuff,
Yeah.
the fact that there is this inexactitude in many of the things we're doing. So it just borrows a lot of the elements of what we have been, of what makes a rehearsal be a rehearsal.
Yeah.
But this is not a rehearsal. It is a show.
Yeah.
And like for instance, it could be for this. It makes me zoom back to this little moment of the pause. It could be instead of speaking, it could be speaking between the two of us, saying like, "Shall we do it again? Shall we try it again?"
Yeah.
And or not even, but then I could imagine that we go back to if this was the corner where we sat, this is where we were angry. We go back there, and we just kind of acknowledge that we are back there, and then we start. Something else. This is a bit like, like this agreement of together. Okay, we start again.
Yeah. I mean, I also like the fact that you were still doing the music and then I went into space by myself and I was like just trying to get away from these things.
Mm-hmm.
So not trying not to work together.
But maybe it can happen this way also, right? To have this, like, if we go back here, we have this little moment of, okay, we're starting again. So,
yeah.
Or maybe it's not necessarily that, I don't know, we have to see. But just it can be also, at the moment that we are at the computer, we just have this full acknowledgement of, we did that. Maybe I'm still like drinking, you're still drinking, and then you go. But I think this is a moment of acknowledgement. We did that, and we are re-entering the studio. We are re-entering the space to do something else. Is giving this idea of, okay, we are there. We
One of the phrases that we use a lot to repeat something is like, okay, should we do it again?
Mm-hmm.
Should we go again? I think this phrase would be fitting there.
Sounds very like us. Yeah, we should do it. Let's do it.
What time is it? Maybe we should go and do trying to do this. It's 12:24. Okay, well let's think of this after lunch. Because then we keep the end. Well, we still think of the end, but maybe for today it's something that we need to focus on. Because we should also try and do the three positions in the angry bit that are exactly the same.
Yes, and also the very beginning position after the German text.
The German text we're not doing.
I know. But after this new text,
after the YouTube text,
when I come sit to you.
Yeah.
Because I think actually it could be a position where we're not looking at each other. A position of a bit of.
Yes. I think that's way better. It makes more sense now to do that. That it is an angry position.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And it can have the same characteristic as the siren, but then the siren is looking at each other.
Yeah. Because then I like that if the head is like this, and then the Toro, for example, the head just turns to get closer.
Yeah. Or we can actually even, like, there will be like some idea of looking at the other but not looking at the other.
Yeah.
And you're already in confrontation.
Yeah. Okay, let's go up.
We just need also to see what do we do with the video. Let's after the jumpy part now, the angry jumpy part. We make it not as long as yesterday.
Yeah.
But we build parts. I think we build parts material, right? So that at some point we're making it exactly together.
What about if we have maybe a moment of putting like a song on and then layering it down there. And that's already 2 songs going.
Yeah, true.
And then we use like the 4. Then we need to like put 4 more on. But then we could be like, when we're just having this little moment of like, okay, which song do we select? Yeah.
Where are you now?
So after the anger, we come to the computer.
Yes.
And then very like quite quietly we like
put the first one
okay,
very low.
Yeah, so let's put that one on, and then you put another one on, and then we're there for a bit, and then maybe I put another one on, and then I go into the space and I start doing it, and then you follow, or you go, or whatever.
Say it again. So we could
like maybe
we come together. We have a say. Yeah. Shall we do it again?
Yeah.
One of us puts
music. Put some music on or something.
One of them very low. The first very low.
Yeah.
We both go into space.
But the first very low we overlap first. We put 2 on.
Immediately.
Yeah, but really quietly.
Okay.
I don't know, just thinking.
Could be, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Shall we do it again? Okay.
Still in the same pulse, huh?
What about if one of us goes to do the old anger thing and the other one goes to do the new anger thing at the same time?
The old one being on the floor, on the spot?
Yeah, yeah. And then both of us being like, what are you doing? I thought we were doing that. And then we swap. Or we find some way then to go into the... Or what about if there is just a moment where we're just putting the songs on, layering, getting louder, and then I put My Heart on, and then we start the video. I'm just thinking, because Andreas yesterday was like, why don't you just start the video?
Yes. For me, it's a question like, but also now as I see it.
Because we could also put the video on one time, like, and us watching the thing and then layering the music. And then after a while, we would join in. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I think I do. Somehow I think it needs a transition. Because that's something that will introduce the video. Because I'm not sure if I would imagine that we finish the anger and the next thing that is happening in the space is a video. That's why I like that maybe there is this anger in space.
Yeah.
And then maybe after this anger in space, we can go back. It's quite short, maybe it's just actually 2 minutes with just the 2 songs overlapping. We go back and we do what you said.
Yeah.
So then this is when we overlap, the sound goes a bit louder.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, because whenever you make a structure to something, the tendency is to hang on to stuff, even though it doesn't work, and to try and make it work. And I wonder, like, dropping stuff is better, you know? That's why That's why I now suggest this, because I'm trying to think, is it necessary?
For me, I understand your position, but I was really speaking from the piece at this moment, from what I saw here now. Like when the anger is finished, which is here.
Yeah.
I need something else than just putting a video and us doing completely changing tasks. I need something that bridges the tasks.
I'm not sure though, because it could, if we're here and then we like crawled over to the computers, and then we're having this moment of just like being there. It's also interesting, I think. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And then being like, ah, yeah, let's look at this video. Da 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 da. Because I don't know what it needs there right now. So I'm just trying to like think. Okay, this afternoon, let's stick to what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if we can find that. And if not, we try to figure something out.
Yes. Maybe it's actually something when we have a full video, when you have the possibility of making a long video, that then we have more freedom. At the moment, I find that with the video we have, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. But that's, I mean, for sure. But we know this video is not going to be in the piece anyway.
Exactly.
You know?
But then I'm just thinking for maybe it's just with what we have at the moment.
Okay.
Let's try with this.
Okay. Yeah, I think immediately, sometime soon, it's not going to be today or tomorrow, but we need to make a storyboard for the video.
Yes. I think it's going to be after Friday.
After next Friday.
After this Friday.
Yeah, but I think even like before we're in Campo.
Yeah, absolutely.
We should sit down and do it, because otherwise it's going to run away.
Yes. But I think because we are going to change again tomorrow, and on Friday we will change again after the feedback.
Yeah.
Then we can be kind of set.
Yeah.
The danger, though, is exactly what you said, that at the moment we make a video and we have the structure, it will be fixed. It will be rather fixed.
Yeah.
Okay. So concretely, let's try to make a little structure for today.
Yeah.
After the anger, we go in the middle. We go to this. We go sit, have a drink. Shall I put one of us puts music on?
Yeah.
Very low.
Also, it's the music there could serve the purpose of like diffusing the atmosphere. You know, it's like you would maybe do that to diffuse, so that would be why it would be there.
Yeah, it's true. Then maybe we can give it more space also to the music.
Yeah. As long as it doesn't become like melodramatic and we've been suffering, so we've got a lot.
Yeah. So here you would imagine that there is. We hear the overlapping as the diffusing. We give the overlapping more time on its own before we enter the space.
I'm not sure.
Or we give the one song very low more space before we enter.
Maybe just one song very low.
Okay.
Shall we do it again? Then we go in when it's still really quiet.
Okay. And no overlapping yet.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. I agree. That's nice. That sounds interesting. Both going into space. Okay.
Where do we start? Where we finish the anger? But then one of us does something completely different.
Yeah. One of us, well, actually, you go.
Just do what I did in the last video. And then you're like really should try to go fast and overtake me.
Yes.
Or it could be that I do it and then I come back and then you do it.
We can improvise this. We see today in the studio how it feels. But then there is, what are the words we said? Like, there is still like some anger, a bit.
Yeah. Like nonchalance also.
A bit of nonchalance.
Trying to escape. Trying to catch
Yes,
up.
trying to escape from the other, or to escape. But trying to follow, but with some...
Trying to get the other back.
Trying to get the other back.
Yeah.
So it's a bit, I don't know, I
And then
a rather tensed line.
Yeah.
Yeah, keeping attention and keeping question of control.
Yeah. And then overlap until
This I would imagine rather short actually.
They quickly overlap.
Much quicker than yesterday.
Yeah. We were a bit too slow on.
So this is.
And the first My Heart, I put the video and the.
I would say, the first My Heart we do the phrase together, without the video. The second My Heart.
So also in the non-shot, in this whole like new anger part, we still need to bring in the parts. So.
A little bit. Yeah. Let's see what it gives.
Yeah, it's really.
I'm also not sure about if it's the right material.
Yes, I also, because whenever you say like it should have the appearance that it's improv, but then we put the video in and they know it's not improv.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, what's the problem if we just look like we're rehearsing a phrase? You know? Does it matter?
Maybe not.
So then also we could even go back to this thing which I suggested the other day where we go to a certain spot and we do a movement and we build the phrase up bit by bit. Well, maybe let's stick to this thing now today.
My Heart 1. And what is video already? Video already?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I know. My Heart
My Heart 1, maybe not without the video.
Should come after.
I think this is something Andrea said. My Heart 1. My Heart 1, we perform it without the video. We come to the screen, we put the video, we let the video run for one phrase, and then we catch up on the second time.
Sorry, say that again.
We dance without the video, My Heart 1. We go back to the screen, we put the video, we let the video run for one phrase until you go back to the computer and start it from here.
And what do we do in the meantime?
We just watch.
Okay. Let's do that. We watch from the computer.
Yeah.
So it's one time us, one time video, and then one time together.
Yes.
And then we put it back. So we do mine, because otherwise we do your...
Otherwise, no, I think then we're good in the structure. Then this would be your first one. If we have D, if for you it's D, L, D, L.
Ah, it's my second, then I would be on my...
You would enter in your second.
Yeah.
When you do My Heart 3.
Okay.
D, well, second, it's we enter the vid.
And then I do one of me, and then I do one of you.
Yes.
And then I do me.
Exactly.
And then I do you. Yeah. So I have DL.
So Dan does DL.
Even do a mirrored diagonal thing.
I don't.
With the slow thing, because now we do the slow thing on the right hand side as well. We could do one from this side and one from this side in mirror. To have that perfectly synced and mirrored routine.
For me, it's just the question is just what do we do before? Do we improvise in this jumpy cross laterals?
Maybe not. Well, let's watch that because we didn't see that.
Yeah, that's true. When this appeared, I was really feeling, my God, this is really fun.
Yeah.
It's just like the credits of a film.
Yeah. Also, this really would need to be like running a lot. It's way too slow now. It's stopping. Yeah, it could be like around.
Like a manège?
Not a manège, but just going everywhere.
Okay.
No, it's not working. You saw what is this Claire Croiset piece? Evil?
Mm-hmm.
This part where they have the jumps. It's like heroes or something, and they all like run really quickly, and they all do a different jump, and then they run to another part, and they're just doing this. Like that could also be nice. That we have this this kind of. Here we go. There we go.
Okay.
That we have this joy of being together.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a bit corny though.
But it's a bit, I don't know, I need to see it a bit, because now I have a very corny image of Evol, and Evol is a bit of a corny piece.
Well, it's also like, I really like that part. It was joyful.
But it's true that maybe at least it needs
some
champagne before we are here.
Exactly. Now it was like,
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also the leg phrase, like, if you go back, don't go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, it should be like, one person starts at the beginning, second person starts at the beginning, person one goes to here, person two goes to here, person one goes a bit more, person two goes a bit more. So it's a bit more like this.
Yeah, I had this idea, but then what I find is also interesting in the leg phrase is the landmarks of the first two things. That, I don't know, I have also this spacing of you go back to the same point. And then maybe it's about, but for me it's maybe enough to just go there twice, and then if I repeat once, I repeat from a more advanced part.
Because it's a shame when we lose the connection between us there, I think. What I really liked in the single was that we were really close to each other the whole time.
No, only at the beginning.
Yeah, but that was really nice.
Yeah.
But also, we did it in C-Tacts, and the run for Ruby was also like we were way closer.
True. But there was no layering there. We just did it once.
Yeah, but this is what I was trying to say: is that you don't go too far back, because then it becomes.
It's about.
Because it's also nice when it's really in unison. No? I think it's nice to see the closeness or the shadow rather than like. Because also, if there's video going on there and stuff, it's going to be. You're not going to be paying attention to a structure. You know? You're going to be more paying attention to this thing which is like. Really visible.
I think it needs both, really. For me, it needs both, and I think it's like maybe the first few times we do it, we don't go too much inside, too much into the phrase, that we cut after like two leg movements, so that when I come back behind you, I'm quite still synced with you.
Yeah.
And we move two legs together, you come back, and then kind of we don't go back further back than two legs before where the other is. But it still means that the two first times we can both go back to the front, to the beginning.
Also, can we stay longer there? Because every time I really want to do a pause, but then you always try to go. Because I really want to just see this pause. For me, this is already moving.
Yeah, it is already moving.
Yeah.
I was also hearing the music finishing. And then you would have this one in silence and the one after in silence.
Yeah, but we can see with the music later, because then we stop earlier or whatever. But I would really like to see just the real freeze for like 30 seconds. So. But it's good, the arms now. So your arms look really brown here.
Yeah, it looks. But I think I'm also a bit more in the shade. Like the lights mostly.
Yeah. Oh, why did they bring my arm? Oh no, it's your arm. Oh yeah, they need to tie a bit more. Oops. It's funny, I think naturally we have you have a faster timing than I do.
You think?
Yeah. By the way, if we wanna, we're not gonna be able to do a sound thing.
It's strange that now from I can raise a bit
From this angle.
Yeah, there is much less alignment of the arms.
Yeah.
But I think it's the angle.
It's also fine now. I don't mind it.
I'm just wondering when I move to the front, in front of you, if it's good like this, or if it needs to be more casual, like for instance, the two of us, we would lower our arms and then put them back up. If we would acknowledge each other, or if I'm totally like in front of a statue.
Yeah. Maybe for now, let's keep it as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it works. So.
Okay.
I wonder if this could be a nice costume change. I want to take something off.
I was thinking that actually I liked the timing of room, and we're immediately into the next thing.
Yeah, but
it makes me not question if there is a change or why there is a change.
But maybe just to take a shirt off and there's one underneath,
Mm-hmm.
which might be the same. I don't know. Huh? You should go a bit further to my head, you know?
To catch you?
Yeah. I think we're ending up making a very physical piece, actually.
Yeah, we're sweating quite hard.
It's quite heavy now. So I'm like, the photo's finished, okay, and then we still have this angle thing, okay, and then we still have the whole of the parts thing.
But the parts is, for me, is fluid. I'm breathing a lot through it.
True.
What was it? When we do the copy pointing and we bend the leg here, I always have a cramp, which I don't have in rehearsals because I'm fine. So we always like soft within the piece. When we do the run, I often have it. The way you catch me now is good.
Also, I like that I've become a bit the teacher again.
For me, this is not. This is not. It doesn't need to be here.
Okay.
Because this is then it's teacher and student instead of supporting each other.
Yeah. At this moment, I want to do it a bit more. Sharp, maybe. That I would mirror your fall, or there's something about the timing of it that could reference what you did. That's a bit.
Like going up.
Yeah, like the fall, and then like that would go suddenly into the understand. Suddenly into the that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know this moment for me.
With you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, we wanted to come up and do the sound, but
Okay. Shall I go get in sandwiches?
We
can come now as well.
we're finished.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I go and you can still continue.
No, because it's one
I
already.
also would like to take a little walk.
I know you thought of going eating somewhere. No.
Yes, we mentioned that.
But maybe I
Is,
think it's better if we
sandwiches
just.
quicker.
Yeah. We send sandwiches.
Let's do that. Let's do the something.
Allez.
Annie.
Vámonos. ¿Dejamos el live stream aquí o qué?
Para mí sí.
Lo pongo arriba, ¿no? Porque aquí no lo dejo.